When I think of black-owned businesses, staples of the community, I'm talking about our restaurants, so like our soul food restaurants, our breakfast nooks, our barbershops, our hair salons. Hair salons have always been ridiculously expensive. And if you find a black-owned hair salon, it is one of those things that women absolutely will pay whatever price if the service is good. However, we've seen some inflation in the barbershop and the fast food and home food, soul food restaurants that have just flat out gone through the roof. I want to talk about inflation specifically in these black-owned businesses, these Bobs, what it was, what it is, what we're going to do about it, what are driving these costs. Really, what's driving these costs? We're going to take a look at it right here, right now on the Ujamaa Network.
Barbers and these prices are getting outrageous. And that's coming from a barber who charges more than a regular barber. But that doesn't negate the fact that some of these barbers are charging these high prices and their work does not equate. You know what I'm saying? And I understand where clients be coming from when they be like, bro, you taxing for a $30 service. Because most barbers give $30, $40 services. But I also want y'all to realize you cannot tell a barber what they can and
Those
can't charge.
prices started shaping fashion trends. You go look at some of these kids right now, though. I'm talking like my son's age, like 14, 15 years old. They'll go out and buy a $5 sponge and wiggle it on their afro, wet it and knot it up. And that's it. That's their grooming technique. And they go to school. Old heads like myself, listen, man, I ain't got nothing to prove out there with no haircut. If that cost of a haircut is more than what it cost me to get, a set of clippers, like a Remington or a Wall or even an Andes, yo, I gotta go. And what that does, unfortunately, for a cornerstone of black community is that barbershop. You get more than just your cut used to. You used to have some sense of camaraderie. This is one of those spaces where black men could be around black men, especially for young boys. We bring our sons, like I brought my son around a group of black men in a barbershop and just taught him not to be afraid of those loud voices, those deep voices. You got to expose your kids. It's more than just the cut. It's the experience. You're around other black men. That's something that gets missed in this discussion. But at the same time, business is business. And while I understand that everything is going up, if the cost of you running your business is far and above the cost of your service, where you can't make your living. And my metric has always been, hey, you need to be able to pay that booth rent with one day service, and then you profit off the other four if you don't own your own building. If it's over that, you're doing something very, very wrong. Very wrong. And this is no diss to people who are claiming skill sets and whatnot. Listen, if your skills is that good, people are going to pay that money. If you make somebody feel good, if they're paying for quality, they're going to pay that money. But when you start getting that $50, $60 and you're not even putting a towel on people's face, yeah, that's not gonna cut it, bro. Don't come over here with some wall clippers and they not 5 star. You understand what I'm saying? And you don't have a trimmer or you ain't cleaning them blades and you want me to pay $50? If I see you go from head to head to head and those blades ain't touched liquor alcohol, yeah, bro, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to miss me
So I
with
had a
that.
buddy send me this, and he said, "Would you pay $35 for this?" He said, "This is like pretty much the going rate for food." He said, "I don't think it's worth it for $35." I would say, and I argue with, yeah, it is. I would say it is. That's
It doesn't matter if you go into soul food or a Caribbean restaurant, them price points are just through the roof right now. And it's gotten to the point where you're gonna pay $30, $37 at bare minimum before they ask for that tip at that kiosk for your plate of food. And we're talking in the Caribbean restaurants, rice and peas, plantain, cabbage, if you're lucky, and that main protein, right? whether it's jerk chicken, curry goat, or oxtail if you boil it. Soul food restaurants, same work. That rib plate, that fried fish. Fried fish tends to be a little bit more cost effective, but anytime you're dealing with chicken or you're dealing with those ribs, yo, you know you about to get that business, and it's not even negotiable. The problem I have with it is quality concerns. If I go to a restaurant, my food is cold. If you got some wings going on, and I know that oil is cooked like it's old oil, I'm already feeling some kind of way. I don't care how good the memories of that food is. You have to understand that many restaurants are in and out. They're not building institutions anymore. Some of these restaurants are fly by night. You make a couple of dollars, you get a good name, and within a week or two, you start seeing less and less traffic if the food ain't good. And that's it. Maybe 2, 3 months, they out of here. Those institutions where they got good food and they manage to hit that equilibrium with the price point and their customers' ability to pay, they might be here for a while. But here's the problem. I think a lot of these restaurants miss the plot altogether. You're in the community to provide something that your customers require. You need food to live. We're not living to eat. We're not really going in there for an experience. The fact that your food is good is a bonus, and that's what keeps us coming back. But when you start hitting price points that are far and above your customer's ability to pay, you won't be in business that long. You miss the plot. I think what happens a lot of times is these businesses never do any food cost processing on their prices. They don't do a food cost percentage. And what I mean by that, similar to how those barbers work with my metrics, if your cost of service for that day in a barbershop for one day cannot cover that booth rent, you're doing something wrong. Same thing with those plates. If that plate per plate is too expensive when you add your seasoning and all your proteins and everything else, if that cost of that plate is over $30, you're doing something very, very wrong. Very wrong. Even with these high prices on food, chicken through the roof. Rice and peas, though, come on, bro. I'm talking about unless you put in $7 worth of seasoning in every bite, there is absolutely no way you can justify on a cost basis analysis of that plate $37. That is an entire shopping bill for one plate for one person. That's not that's not good for you, and it's definitely not good for your customers. What you're gonna start seeing, or what you have start seeing, so a lot of these restaurants come and go because hey, the food's good, but I just can't afford it. And again, by doing this, you're putting a division between what your customers can and how they can support you versus your cost of running that operation. There's got to be some kind of equilibrium going on where both of these cost analysis, both for the customer and for the proprietor, can meet.
Just literally have to let another client walk out the door. He came in asking for a skin drop fade. And like I said, those are the most time consuming haircuts. So I need full price for that. Even though it is a haircut. But I told him 50 straight up. And then he was like, oh, that's too much. I was like, well, the most I could do
$50?
is take $5 off. I'll do it for 45. Then he was like, no, it's okay. And I gave him another chance. I said, if you pick something else, I could go a little bit lower.
So now he got to pick a whole different haircut.
Nah, that's all right. Sometimes you just gotta let shit go.
So much going on here that's messed up. First of all, you messed up by adjusting your price point. Listen, man, your price is your price. And as soon as you started opening the door for negotiations on your price, that leads to the other problem within Bob's black owned businesses. customers constantly coming in asking you for the hookup because you have allowed it before. And you might have done this in front of some other customers, and now you're getting hit with, well, you charged my man this. Well, my man came in and said you do this. Listen, man, set that price point and leave it alone. Now, if the price point is too high for your customers, hey, respect that. Let them bounce. But turning away business on what initially was like $5 or $10, that's how you stay out of business. No negotiations, bro. Number one. And number two, never, never change the price and ask this dude to come in and you just stay that price and give him the leverage. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Hear me out, because I'm genuinely curious. I always ask this: why is our food the most expensive to enjoy? Really, I call it a Chinese restaurant. I get some little cheap, but it's still schmack. I get some Mexican, some Spanish, like even Italian, bro. The things be dead cheap, but us, when it comes to us, our shit is $20 plus a plate. I'm heated. I just get mad. I can't enjoy what like I don't know. You know what I mean? Like there gotta be somewhere where soul food could be cheaper or some shit like that. I'm tight. I'm tight.
Now you're hitting on something. Now those other two plates, they actually had full wings. Now I've seen restaurants, I've gone there, and they try to hit you with the, a 10-piece wing is it's really just five wings cut in half. Now that's not gonna fly. That's not gonna fly at all. And you don't see that in those Chinese restaurants. You see that drum mat and that flat attached, and that's one piece of chicken. And you get three pieces, so that's what we call six pieces, right? And some rice, and that price point be under $10. Still, $35, $20. If you're lucky, that was a kind of a good price still. Real talk for that plate. But on top of the high price point, he makes a good point. Other communities get it. You can't go to a taqueria and these jokers been working out there on these houses all day long, and they're gonna give up half a day's wages on a meal. That's not gonna do it. That's not gonna cut it. We do that in the hood. Again, you gotta find that medium. You gotta strike a medium with your customers. You gotta understand that if the cost of you providing that food is exceeding a certain point where you have to charge those increases onto your customers, you might not be in business that long. And I think these other communities understand that. And I say other communities because, real talk, every Chinese restaurant I ever went into in the hood, Chinese people didn't show up there. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, it was us. That was it. Go listen to that Jaheim record. You know what I mean? What song was that? It's us Struggle Love. You talking about those 4 chicken wings and rice? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
How much? I let it go for about $40. $40.
And y'all wonder why I don't post Gail's Kitchen. It's no disrespect. I understand it's black owned, but baby,
My
I
man
be
said, I'll let it go for $40. What is this, a car dealership? We bartering now? You selling what, retreads on that spaghetti? $40 for some baked spaghetti? Bruh. Yeah, once again, you negotiating price points at the point of sale. You got your price listed. So that tells me you already know that's overpriced. You tripping. Negotiating price is nasty work at the point of sale. That is nasty work. It's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. And if somebody eat that food, they got to wash that food down with that same bad taste in their mouth because you just tried to hit them for $40 for a plate of spaghetti. That's wild. I don't have nothing else for that because that's probably the most insane thing I've seen. I don't care how good that spaghetti must be for you to think so highly of it that it's $40. Yo, again, like the lady said, no diss, but spaghetti, fam. Let me know what you thought about this content, and I'm gonna just let it slide there because I'm really at a loss of words. The only thing I can do, and I stress this again, is get your price points together and don't try to nickel and dime your customers, because that is a surefire way for them to be dissatisfied and not return to your establishment.